The royal palace of Zelvarus stood tall under the glowing twin suns. Its towers reached the sky, made of smooth silver stone and decorated with banners that danced in the soft alien wind. Inside the great hall, nobles from many star systems gathered. Their voices low, their eyes watching the center stage. Queen Aurelia of the Aurelian Empire sat on her crystal throne. Her golden crown shimmered, and her long silver robe trailed across the floor like flowing water. Her voice was calm as she welcomed the new alliance. Standing beside her, wearing dark armor and a sharp eye, was a human Captain Darren Holt, one of the very few humans trusted inside the palace walls. He was not born of their world, but he had earned his place through loyalty and quick thinking. Most aliens whispered behind his back, but the Queen trusted him. Suddenly, everything changed. A strange sound echoed across the hall. A deep hum, like a vibration from under the floor. Then Queen Aurelia gasped. Her eyes rolled back. Her body stiffened. She collapsed. Gasps filled the hall. The crowd froze in shock. Darren rushed forward. He knelt beside her. Her breathing was shallow. Her skin, usually glowing with a faint light, now looked pale and dim. "Get the medics!" Someone shouted. Guards closed in, weapons drawn. Nobles ran for the exits, yelling in fear. Panic moved like a wave through the palace. The Queen's healers arrived, carrying shining tools and glowing stones. But even after minutes passed, she did not wake. Her chest moved, but only just. The lead healer looked up and shook his head. Slowly, "This was not sickness," he said. "This was something else." Darren stood up, fists tight. He scanned the room. He had felt it too, that strange hum, like something deep and hidden. No one else seemed to notice it. Only him. He moved toward the palace sensors, tucked away in a corner. As the crowd yelled and the nobles argued, Darren touched a hidden panel. A small screen lit up. His eyes narrowed. Something was wrong with the energy flow inside the palace. A sharp drop in power had passed through the Queen's throne moments before she fell. He didn't wait for permission. He moved quickly through the halls, heading toward the energy core room. That other guards shouted after him, but he didn't stop. They could question him later. Right now, something dark was happening, and no one else seemed to see it. The deeper he went, the colder the air became. The lights flickered. The hum returned so low, it was almost inside his bones now. He reached the core chamber. The door had been sealed, but not by the system. Someone had placed a small, black device over the lock. Alien tech, high-level military. Darren looked around. No signs of life, no guards, no workers. Just the sound of the humming and the flicker of blue lights above. He reached for his belt, pulled out a small plasma cutter, and sliced the device off. The door hissed open. Inside, the room was dark. The energy core pulsed in the center, a giant crystal surrounded by spinning metal rings. But something was off. A second hum, sharper, meaner. Behind the core stood a figure. Tall, armored, face covered by a dark helmet. The figure turned. Glowing red eyes stared at Darren. "You're not supposed to be here," the voice said, deep and full of hate. Darren raised his blaster. "Neither are you." The figure didn't speak again. It raised its arm and a wave of blue sparks shot from its gauntlet. Darren ducked, rolled, and fired back. Blasts echoed in the chamber. Sparks flew. The air smelled like burned metal, but the attacker was fast. Too fast. Darren hit the wall, his weapon knocked away. The figure stepped closer. But then it stopped. A voice came from Darren's earpiece. "Captain Holt, the Queen's condition is stable for now." Darren's heart beat faster. He reached behind him and grabbed the metal rod. As the attacker stepped forward, Darren struck hard. The rod cracked against the figure's helmet. It stumbled back, letting out a strange robotic growl. Darren didn't wait. He threw himself toward the control panel near the core. and pressed the emergency lock. The room sealed. The attacker let out one last snarl, then vanished in a flash of light. Teleport tech. Darren leaned on the panel, breathing hard. This wasn't just an accident. This was sabotage. Someone wanted the Queen dead, and only Darren had seen the signs. Darren stood in the sealed chamber, sweat running down his neck. His heart was still racing. The energy core behind him pulsed gently, but something was wrong. He could feel it. Whatever the masked attacker had done to it wasn't over. He opened his cum. "This is Captain Holt," he said quietly. "I need a tech team at the core chamber. And someone from Royal Security. Now, Captain," a voice replied. "The Council has declared a lockdown. No one moves in or out of the inner palace. They'll move if they care about the Queen," Darren said. "Tell them the attack was real. And we may only have hours." He ended the call and turned back to the crystal core. He didn't understand alien tech like the engineers, but he'd been in enough wars to know sabotage when he saw it. The readings were unstable, power spikes, fluctuations in flow. It wasn't just the Queen who was in danger. The whole palace could be next. A few minutes later, a door opened behind him. 3 figures stepped in. One was a nervous Aurelian tech, eyes wide and hands shaking. The other 2 were guards, one of them Captain Luruk, leader of the Queen's elite defenders. His sharp gaze fell on Darren immediately. "You left your post," Luruk said coldly. "I chased a real threat," Darren answered. "The Queen's fall was no accident." Luruk looked around, then stepped toward the control panel. The tech followed him and began scanning the readings. Her face turned pale. "This isn't right," she whispered. "The core was tampered with." "I told you," Darren said. Luruk didn't reply, but his expression tightened. He didn't like Darren. Many palace guards didn't trust humans. But he couldn't argue with the data. "Who did this?" Luruk asked. "I saw someone," Darren said. "Alien, armored fast. They teleported out before I could stop them." "You expect me to believe that someone got past 3 layers of royal security?" Luruk growled. "No," Darren said. "I think they had help from inside." Luruk froze. Didn't want to believe it, but the truth was there, waiting like a shadow in the corner of the room. The tech girl stepped back from the panel. "The core's balance is off. If this continues, the energy fields protecting the Queen's wing will collapse." Darren looked at Luruk. "The Queen's in more danger than we thought." "We'll move her," Luruk said at last. "No," Darren said quickly. "If the attacker knows the core is damaged, they might expect that. They could strike again during the move." Luruk's eyes narrowed. "Then what do you suggest, human?" Darren pointed to the screen. "We fix the sabotage and find who helped them inside." "You mean investigate the Queen's own staff?" "If we don't, she won't survive the next attack." Luruk didn't like it, but he gave a slow nod. "I'll get a list of all staff with access to the energy chamber," he said. "You'll question them with one of my men watching." Darren didn't argue. He just wanted the truth. They moved fast. Back in the command room, a map of the palace glowed on the screen. Darren, Luruk, and 2 other officers studied the access logs. One name popped up again and again near areas tied to energy flow. Security gates and power locks. Rynarvel, a royal engineer. Darren tapped the name. "Where is he now?" "Not reporting in," said one officer. "No signal. Then we find him." As the team spread through the palace, Darren followed the old maintenance routes. Quiet halls no longer used, filled with dust and darkness. The hum returned, low and steady. It felt like he was being watched. He turned a corner and froze. Rinner stood at the far end, his back to Darren, a tool in one hand, a small black box in the other. "Don't move," Darren said. Rinner flinched but didn't turn. "You weren't supposed to see it." "What did you do to the Queen?" "I didn't hurt her," Rinner said quickly. It was meant to slow her down, not kill her. Darren stepped closer. Who told you to do it? Silence. Then Rinner dropped the tool. His voice trembled. They said she was leading the Empire to ruin. That she was too trusting. Too soft. They wanted her ... replaced. Who are they? I don't know. I never saw their face. Before Darren could ask more, a sudden flash of red light exploded from behind Rinner. A sharp blast, then silence. Rinner fell. A burn mark on his back. Dead. Darren spun around, but no one was there. Another silent kill. The enemy was still hiding. Still watching. And the Queen was still in danger. Rinner's body lay still on the cold floor, smoke rising from the burn on his back. Darren stared at it, jaw tight, blaster raised. He had only been seconds away. The killer had slipped in and out, just like the masked figure before. Not only was someone powerful behind this, but they were also close. Inside the palace, watching every move, Darren pressed his earpiece. Target down. Rinner is dead. Someone executed him. There was silence. Then Luruk's sharp voice answered. How? Energy shot. Precision kill. I didn't see the shooter. Stay there, don't move. I'll send backup. No, Darren said. They're moving faster than we are. I'll find them before they strike again. He ended the call. The air around him was too quiet. The humming had stopped. It felt like the whole palace was holding its breath. Darren crouched and searched Rinner's body. Inside the engineer's pouch, he found a small data crystal. Smooth, black, with a strange symbol carved into one side. Not standard palace tech. He placed it into his wrist scanner. The files were encrypted, military grade. But not Aurelian, Darren's. Eyes narrowed. This wasn't just an inside job. This was foreign. Interference. He stood quickly and slipped into the maintenance tunnels, moving fast. Every shadow looked like a threat now. His steps were silent, trained, careful. He reached the surface and exited near the Queen's private chambers. The royal wing had been sealed off, guarded by a dozen elite warriors. Luruk stood at the front, arms crossed. Darren held up the crystal. Rinner was working with outsiders, he said. This symbol, I've seen it in old Earth files. It matches a mercenary group called the Shadari Veil. Luruk frowned. That's a myth. Ghost soldiers. Paid killers. They're real, Darren said. And they're inside your palace. Luruk looked at the Queen's sealed chamber. She's awake now. But weak. The healers don't know why her energy won't return. Darren stepped closer. It's not sickness. The core attack changed her energy flow. It was a test. A test to see how fast we respond. How much we notice. Whoever's behind. They're not finished. Luruk looked at the guards. Then gave a nod. Follow me. They moved through the Queen's inner halls, where only the most trusted were allowed. Darren had never been this close to her personal quarters. Door opened. Inside, the lights were low. Soft energy floated through the air. Queen Aurelia lay on a crystal bed. Her silver hair spread out like a halo. Her eyes opened slowly as they entered. Darren bowed, but she raised a hand. No need, Captain. You saved me. Not yet, Your Majesty, he said, but I'm trying. Her voice was soft. What did you find? Darren showed her the crystal. This group. The Shadari Veil. They're trying to strike from inside. They used a palace engineer. Someone else is helping them, someone close. The Queen closed her eyes for a moment. I knew this peace would bring enemies. I just didn't think they'd wear friendly faces. We need to act now, Darren said. Let me search the high-access logs. The one helping the Shadari must have cleared security for that masked intruder. Luruk growled. That's restricted to council level. The Queen looked at Darren. Then I grant him full access. Whatever you need, Captain. Luruk didn't argue. The Queen had spoken. Hours later, in the command chamber, Darren sat alone, studying the access data. Lines of code filled the screen. He scanned names, dates, door logs. Nothing stood out until one small detail. A door to the Queen's private sanctum had opened 4 times that day. Once by Darren, once by Luruk, once by the healers, and once by Lady Velna. Darren frowned. V. Elna, one of the Queen's oldest advisors. A noble woman, trusted, powerful, cold. And, according to the logs present near the energy core, 10 minutes before the Queen collapsed, Darren played the internal security footage. A figure moved through the halls, head covered, walking with purpose. The video was blurred interference, but the cloak color matched Velna's. Darren stood, jaw tight. The enemy had a face now, someone the Queen trusted. Someone already too close. Asterisk, the palace was quiet, but Darren's mind was racing. He walked through the upper levels of the tower, heading straight to Lady Velna's private chambers. She had always stayed close to the Queen, offering advice, speaking with calm authority. But now, Darren saw her in a new light. He kept one hand near his sidearm. As he approached her door, 2 gold-armored guards stood in his way. Lady Velna isn't to be disturbed, one said firmly. Darren didn't flinch. Under direct order from the Queen, I need to speak with her. Move. The guards hesitated, but stepped aside. Darren entered slowly. Velna's room was silent and dim. Smooth walls. Hanging stars made of crystal. Soft light shimmered from glowing plants along the edge. But no one was inside. He searched quickly. On the desk, he found a small box made of dark wood, carved with the same symbol as the crystal Rinner had carried. Shadari Veil. Inside the box was a communicator, still active, still warm. Darren pressed it. Static. Then dash whispers. Next phase begins at dusk. She will fall again. The Empire will follow. He turned off the device. Someone else was speaking. Not Velna, but someone giving her orders. And the plan wasn't finished. Just then, the door behind him opened. Lady Velna stepped inside, calm as ever. You shouldn't be here, Captain Holt. You were at the core before the Queen fell. Darren said. And you didn't report it. I go where I'm needed, she replied. The Queen trusts me. She trusted Rinner too. Velna's lips curved in a cold smile. He was weak. I gave him a task. He failed. Darren didn't move. Who are you working for? She stepped closer, voice calm. Not everyone wants peace, Captain. The Queen's rule is soft. Her mercy makes the Empire weak. We need strength, order, discipline. By killing her, by replacing her, Velna said. With someone willing to rule through fear. Darren's eyes narrowed. You're not alone, are you? Velna tilted her head. Of course not. Suddenly, a sharp click came from behind the wall. Hidden doors slid open, and 3 masked soldiers stepped out. Black armor, red eyes, Shadari Veil. Darren moved fast. He rolled behind a stone pillar as energy blasts hit the walls. Sparks flew. One shot grazed his shoulder. He fired back, dropping 1 soldier. Then he grabbed the fallen attacker's blaster and used both hands to return fire. Velna backed away, her expression still calm. You can't stop what's already begun. I'm not here to stop it, Darren growled. I'm here to finish it. With a sharp spin, he kicked the second soldier's weapon away, then slammed the third into the wall. The mask cracked. The attacker dropped. Velna was already moving toward a hidden passage in the wall. Darren grabbed a small blade from his belt and threw it. It struck the doorframe, just missing her, but she escaped. Silence returned. The guards outside rushed in, weapons raised, but Darren waved them down. She's gone, he said. Seal every hall. Lock the spaceport. She's not leaving the city. One guard spoke into a cum. All gates now under lockdown. Velna is marked as hostile. Darren stood in the center of the room, breathing hard. His shoulder burned, but he didn't stop. He walked back to the communicator box. He pressed it again. Another voice came through. We strike at dusk. If she survives again, target the inner palace. Collapse the tower. No mercy. A second voice replied, we will be watching from orbit. Darren froze. Orbital support? That meant this wasn't just palace sabotage. It was invasion. He ran back to the command center, where Luruk and the Queen's other guards were already tracking movements across the palace. We have a bigger problem, Darren said. Velna's working with a fleet. Luruk's eyes widened. You're sure? They plan to strike again tonight. Not just the Queen but the tower. They want to bring it all down. Evacuation? They'll shoot the escape ships. The Queen entered then, walking slowly, still weak but alert. Her voice was low, serious. We stand our ground. This empire has faced war before. It will not fall to shadows. Darren nodded. Then we prepare. If they're watching us from orbit, let's give them something to see. The palace was no longer quiet. Alarms echoed through the halls. Soldiers rushed to positions. Shield walls activated. Lights flickered as power systems were rerouted for defense. The sky outside turned orange as the twin suns lowered, casting long shadows across the white towers of Zalvarez. Darren stood in the control room, surrounded by flashing monitors and maps. The Queen sat behind him, her robe draped around her shoulders, still weak but watching everything. Luruk barked orders beside him, organizing guard teams, drone units, and energy turrets. The enemy fleet is hidden behind the third moon, one officer said. 5 ships, all running silent. Typical mercenary move, Darren muttered. They wait until our eyes are focused inside, then strike from above. Why now? Luruk asked. Why today? Darren pointed to the map. Because the Queen is still recovering. Because Velna opened our gates from within. And because they think we're too divided to fight back. They're wrong, the Queen said. Everyone turned to her. She stood slowly, eyes glowing faintly again. Her strength was returning. They think this empire is weak because we choose peace. But peace is not weakness. It is the test of true strength. Darren gave a sharp nod. Then we give them a surprise. He turned to the table and tapped the screen. We fake an evacuation, he said. Make them think we're retreating. When they strike the tower, we jam their weapons with our signal net. While they're distracted, we take the fight to them. You mean send a strike team to the fleet? Luruk asked. Exactly, Darren said. A stealth shuttle, small, fast, one shot at disabling their command ship. Luruk looked doubtful. Too risky, the Queen looked at Darren. Can you do it? Yes, Your Majesty, he said. But I'll need someone who knows their tech. Someone who can break their systems from inside. I'll go, said a voice behind them. Everyone turned. It was Nira, the young tech from the core chamber. She stepped forward, nervous but brave. I studied mercenary codes during training, she said. If you get me on that ship, I can break their signal net. Maybe even shut down their weapons. Darren nodded. Then gear up. We leave in 15 minutes. Luruk placed a hand on Darren's shoulder. You're a soldier, not a hero. Don't die out there. Darren gave him a half smile. I'm both. The stealth shuttle was dark and narrow, made for speed, not comfort. It launched from a hidden tunnel beneath the palace, sliding into the sky like a ghost. The stars above shimmered. Ahead of them, the enemy fleet glowed faintly. 5 dark ships shaped like blades. Inside the shuttle, Nira worked fast, syncing her tools to the enemy signal. Sweat ran down her forehead, but her fingers moved with speed. They're scanning for large vessels, she said. But we're too small to catch yet. We've got 10 minutes. Then we make them count, Darren said. As they neared the enemy flagship, Nira tapped her pad. I'm uploading false ID. We'll look like a lost cargo drone for a few seconds. The shuttle shook slightly as it neared the hull. The enemy ship was massive black steel, silent, dangerous. Get ready, Darren said. As soon as the bay opens, we move. The enemy hangar doors opened slowly. The moment the shuttle landed, Darren jumped out, blaster raised. Nira followed, carrying her hacking device. 2 guards appeared, but Darren moved fast. 1 shot, 1 strike. Both down. They ran into the corridor. Where's the control node? He asked. 2 levels up, Nira said. Straight through security. They reached the lift and found it guarded. Darren didn't wait. He rushed forward, firing fast and sharp. 1 enemy dropped. Another raised his weapon, but Nira threw her device. Shocking the guard with a pulsive energy dot, they reached the node chamber, a glowing room, full of screens and wires. Nira plugged in her device and began typing. 3 minutes, she said. I can break their whole command system. Darren stood at the door, guarding her. Outside, alarms blared. The enemy had found them. Footsteps echoed. Blaster fire lit the hallway. Darren fought hard, guarding Nira with every shot. He didn't let anyone near her dot, then dashed suddenly. All the lights on the ship flickered. Nira looked up, smiling. Done. I shut down their targeting. Their guns are blind. Darren tapped his cum. Queen Aurelia strike now. Their systems are down. On the ground below, the palace towers lit up. Beams of blue light shot into the sky, piercing the dark. The enemy ships tried to fire, but nothing responded. The Queen's forces struck hard, blasting their hulls, disabling engines, driving them back. The enemy fleet broke apart. In the flagship, Darren and Nira ran back toward the shuttle. We're clear, Darren said. Let's go home. Asterisk, the stealth shuttle broke through the clouds as dawn touched the palace. Below, the white towers of Zelvarus still stood scorched in places, but unbroken. The sky was quiet now. The enemy fleet had scattered. 3 ships were disabled. 2 had escaped into deep space. Darren sat beside Nira in the cockpit, both of them exhausted. Smoke still clung to his armor. Her fingers trembled, but her eyes were bright. You did good, Darren said softly. I couldn't have done it without you, she replied. Smiling weakly, the shuttle touched down in the palace courtyard. Soldiers cheered as they stepped out. Lurak was there, waiting, a rare grin on his face. The Queen is safe, he said. Thanks to both of you. Darren nodded. And the fleet? We've already started interrogating the prisoners from the crashed ship, Lurak said. The mercenaries had one message: Velna hired them. Paid in off-world gold, promised control of the Empire. And her? Darren asked. Lurak's smile faded. She hasn't been found, not yet. Darren didn't wait. He walked straight toward the Queen's chambers. Inside, Queen Aurelia stood by the high window, her long robe trailing behind her. Sunlight touched her silver hair. Her glow had returned, soft but steady. She turned as Darren entered. You made it back, she said. I always do, Darren replied. She gave him a small smile, then stepped forward. They tell me you saved this empire. I didn't do it alone. She nodded. But you saw what others missed. You acted when others froze. You stood your ground. Darren hesitated. Then he said, I wasn't born here. I'm not one of your people. You are now, the Queen said. From this day, you are protector of the throne, and no law shall place you beneath any born of this world. Darren stood still. He didn't know what to say. She continued. We've rebuilt before. We'll do it again. But there's something I haven't told the council. What is it? She walked to a hidden panel beside her throne and pressed it. A small hologram appeared of Velna, speaking to someone in a dark room. Her voice was calm, but her words were poison. The Queen cannot lead forever. The people need order. If she falls, the Empire will stand tall again, under my rule. Darren stared at the image. She recorded her own betrayal, he said. She was too proud, Aurelia said. She thought she was untouchable. Darren's voice was steady. Then, She's still out there. Yes, the Queen said softly. And she will try again. Darren looked out the window. Let her come. I'll be ready. The Queen turned to him. And what if you fall? Darren smiled faintly. I'll make sure I fall protecting the light you gave this world. She looked at him for a long time. Her eyes filled with something more than gratitude, trust, respect, and a hint of something deeper. You are more than just a guard now, Darren Holt, she said. You are the shield of my people. Outside, the city rang with the sound of rebuilding. Children played in the streets again. The sky was clear. The danger had passed, but the scars remained dot in the shadows beyond the stars. Velna still waited. But now she knew a human stood between her and the throne, and he had already proven what humanity could do when it chose to fight for something greater than itself.